President Zelensky. U.S. benefits from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky believes that the U.S. defense industry has benefited greatly from contracts to supply weapons to Kiev and replenish domestic stocks. In an interview with British journalist Piers Morgan on February 4th, Zelensky argued that most of the U.S. aid to Ukraine actually goes back to the U.S. to support the country's defense industry. Some of the money that the Americans are talking about actually funds production in the U.S. The arms companies that supply Kiev have received this funding. They now have the largest contracts in the last 50 years due to the increased demand from the conflict with Russia, Zelensky said. The Ukrainian president also stressed that a significant amount of U.S. military aid has been transferred to specific companies, specific factories, which has helped generate profits for certain entities. At the same time, this money is also used to pay salaries for American workers working at defense companies. In addition, Mr. Zelensky said that the U.S. took this opportunity to renew its arsenal because many of the weapons that Washington provided to Ukraine were actually outdated, produced in the 1970s and 1980s. The transfer of old weapons gives the U.S. the opportunity to produce new ones to replace and modernize their military reserves. Although he has repeatedly criticized the West for delays and limitations in providing weapons, the Ukrainian president still expressed gratitude for the U.S.'s support. He also affirmed that Ukraine has helped the U.S. accumulate valuable combat experience in modern wars. The U.S. has received from Ukraine the experience of large-scale ground combat in modern times. They have full information about the effectiveness and limitations of the weapons they produce, Mr. Zelensky said. Ukraine extends martial law. According to Kiev Independent, Ukrainian President Zelensky has signed a law extending martial law and general mobilization from February 8 to May 9. Martial law and general mobilization were first imposed by Zelensky on February 24, 2022, when Russia launched a special military operation in Ukraine. Since then, these measures have been extended several times to maintain combat forces. On January 14th, Zelensky submitted a proposal to the Ukrainian parliament to extend martial law and general mobilization for another 90 days. The Ukrainian parliament then voted in favor. According to the martial law, except in some special cases, Ukrainian men aged 18 to 60 are not allowed to leave the country because they may be called up for military service. The extension of martial law also means that Ukraine cannot hold parliamentary and presidential elections as required by law. This makes Ukraine's political future unpredictable as the conflict shows no signs of abating.